A 24/7 News. This is 24/7 News at 10 on your side.
First at 10, a big announcement in Maryland getting national attention tonight. Governor Larry Hogan taking action to get 500,000 COVID-19 tests from overseas.
Yeah, just yesterday, the president said that the need for tests was a problem that local leaders should be handling. But then today, he said Governor Larry Hogan's actions were not necessary.
We provided each governor with a list of the names, addresses, and phone numbers of the labs where they can find additional testing capacity within their states. Hundreds and hundreds of labs are ready, willing, and able. Some of the governors, like as an example, the governor from Maryland didn't really understand the list. He didn't understand too much about what was going on. So now I think he'll be able to do that.
Well, these new pictures tonight from BWI Airport show the Maryland National Guard unloading those tests from South Korea. Governor Hogan said his wife, who was born in South Korea, played an instrumental role in making this deal happen. He spoke tonight on CNN about the president's reaction and that list that he mentioned.
Well, we appreciated that list. More than half, most of the ones that they sent me in Maryland were all federal facilities, including NIH and FDA and Walter Reed, none of which were state-owned labs or facilities where we could actually do any testing. But I'm not sure what the president's referring to. I have a pretty good understanding of what's going on.
Well, officials have said increased testing capability is a key component to easing stay-at-home restrictions and reopening non-essential businesses.
Other headlines to get to tonight. Georgia's governor says restaurants, gyms, and hair salons in the state can begin reopening on Friday. Also new, President Trump suggested today there could be a Senate vote tomorrow on more relief for small businesses. And the director of the World Health Organization warned today that the worst of the coronavirus pandemic is still ahead. Now, nursing homes continue to be a source of concern during this pandemic as cases there spread more easily among senior people. We just learned that there are now 120 cases at 6 facilities in Charles County, Maryland alone. ABC 7's Annalisa Gale spoke to 2 people who lost loved ones in one of those facilities. She explains what they are calling for. That is all new at 10.
Posters with kind and encouraging words are sitting outside Sage Point Nursing and Rehab Center, but the signs held by loved ones in this parking lot nearby told a different story.
Why wasn't there a protest today?
Well, we were going to have, we even said it was going to be a peaceful protest.
Tim Hill and Barbara Lou Buchanan showed up for a protest near the facility, but they later found out it was canceled.
It got canceled because we were told by the police we didn't have permits.
Hill held up a poster of his 70-year-old father, who he says died after testing positive for COVID-19 at Sage Point this month.
I was told on April 11th.
And Buchanan held up a photo of her 84-year-old mother, who she says also lived at Sage Point and also tested positive for COVID-19.
We were contacted by the testing facility for Sage Point to say that my mother was number 69 that tested positive in the building.
Buchanan says her mother, Betty Lou Sams, passed away on the 16th.
We're not sure she got the comfort care that we requested.
Charles County's health department says they've now identified at least 120 cases of COVID-19 at nursing homes and assisted living facilities in the county. Following his father's death, Hill is calling for an investigation at Sage Point
into what kind of measures were taken, what kind of measures weren't taken.
In a statement posted to their website, Sage Point says they have been transparent with residents' family contacts. And in another statement posted on Friday, a spokesperson for the facility says, quote, despite following all the top health care guidelines and regulations, our staff is devastated to see the virus affect the community. At the Alert Desk, Annalisa Gale, ABC 7 News.
Now, 7 on your side has been tracking an outbreak inside Regency Care of Silver Spring. And sadly tonight, we've learned that 9 residents have died. 18 others are hospitalized right now, and 30 more have tested positive. So far, 28 staff members have also been diagnosed with COVID-19. Well, right now on WJLA.com, we have resources for you if you have a loved one in a senior living facility. 7 on your side, talk to the experts and ask them for advice. They gave us the 6 key questions to ask your loved one's nursing home during this COVID-19 crisis. That is posted right now. You can also find it on the free ABC 7 News app.
Well, tonight there are signs of progress in the fight against the pandemic in Virginia. The number of new cases has declined for 3 straight days. That's the first such stretch since the virus was first detected in the state 6 weeks ago.
Hopefully these numbers are trending down, but we certainly haven't reached our peak. So while we're not looking forward to a peak or a surge, we hope that we're reaching that part during this pandemic, and after that the numbers will start to come down, and we can ease these restrictions and get back to our normal lives.
The CDC says states have to see declining figures for 2 weeks before they can even start easing restrictions. Computer models predict Virginia's peak will be later this week.
And here's a look at the number of cases across the DMV. Right now in Virginia, there are nearly 9,000 cases. Maryland still has the most with more than 13,000, and there are nearly 3,000 cases in D.C. And new tonight, we have learned that a psychologist at Charles Houston Elementary School in Northeast D.C. has died from the coronavirus. Dr. Zoal Makumbi has worked for D.C. public schools for the past 25 years. DCPS is asking for a moment of silence at noon tomorrow in his memory.
A federal judge has ordered the D.C. Department of Corrections to overhaul sanitation, implement new procedures, and expand social distancing at the D.C. jail. One inmate has already died from coronavirus complications, and dozens more have tested positive. Mayor Muriel Bowser said the department is complying with the court order, which is the result of a lawsuit on behalf of inmates.
We would disagree with any conclusion that said we weren't working very hard to save lives. We believe a lot of these things are already underway. I have appointed, I think, a person who can make sure and has some of this experience of working with the monitor to get things that aren't done.
The Department of Corrections says 44 inmates are in isolation after testing positive. 42 have recovered and are back in general population. More than 24 DOC personnel have also tested positive for COVID-19.
Another protest today against stay-at-home orders. This one outside Pennsylvania's state capitol drew more than 100 people. And tonight, Facebook is now removing event groups for organized protests. Facebook says if the event goes against government guidance on social distancing, it will not be allowed. Now, as more states move toward easing restrictions, a new warning tonight from the U.S. Surgeon General. ABC 7 chief political correspondent Scott Thuman spoke to him one-on-one today.
A sizable and vocal crowd in Pennsylvania demanding a reopening to get back to work.
We have to figure out a nice balance between keeping our economy open and handling the virus.
The president determined to quickly halt the economic downslide.
And we're going to rebuild it better, and it's going to go faster than people think. I built it once, I'll build it a second time.
As the task force has to weigh demonstrators' desires versus that of overall safety, we asked U.S. Surgeon General Dr. Jerome Adams what risk the gatherings themselves pose.
The right to protest is one of the most cherished rights in our country. But if you're going to do it, please, for heaven's sake, try to do it in a safe manner.
How great is the fear of a resurgence?
The fear of a resurgence is there. It's going to be there again no matter when we open. In the new guidelines are criteria for reopening. And one of those criteria is making sure you have adequate testing and adequate healthcare capacity.
Vice President Pence declaring there are enough tests to go around.
We have enough testing capacity for every state in America to go to phase 1. But we assured the governors today that we're going to continue to work around the clock.
As some areas improve, new ones struggle. The federal government now moving more resources and personnel into major cities like Chicago, Boston, and Philadelphia. Meanwhile, a bit of a schedule change here on Capitol Hill as Senate leaders now plan to meet here tomorrow and hammer out a deal worth hundreds of billions of dollars for small businesses. That's money that ran out last week. They hope to have both Senate and House votes in the next few days. On Capitol Hill, Scott Thuman, ABC 7 News.
Oil prices fell to their lowest level ever today, shedding more than 300% of their value. And while the price per barrel fell into negative territory, industry analysts expect the price to rebound tomorrow. That's when bidding on future oil contracts begins. Global demand has plummeted in the past month, meaning oil and fuel supplies are exceeding storage capacity.
And just in from Fairfax County, teacher-led virtual learning is now on hold. For the time being, there will be no face-to-face online learning. That news comes after days of trouble and a software update over the weekend. Today, problems continued with the Blackboard program. Some students still had trouble logging on. For now, students will continue to use the software to get their lessons, and we're told that teachers will utilize other tools, including pre-recorded videos, learning packets, and ebooks. The district says they are reviewing their online learning and have hired a law firm to look at what went wrong.
Well, good evening, everyone. I'm meteorologist Bill Kelly. Pretty quiet out there right now. It's a beautiful evening. High pressure is in place after we lost those clouds this morning, but we are quickly tracking our next weather maker that is affecting parts of the upper peninsula of Michigan and then draping down a little farther off to the south. This is a cold front, and this is what's going to be sweeping on by as we head into midday tomorrow. So let me break it down for you, kind of the bullet points here, and then we're really going to break down the hour by hour coming up in just a few minutes. But out the door tomorrow morning, we're going to be in the upper 40s to about 50 degrees. Then mid-morning through noon and into early afternoon, we're going to be tracking that potential for passing showers and passing storms. Our high temperatures are in the mid to upper 60s, and then the winds kick up, wind gusts to 35 miles per hour tomorrow, independent of these storms. In addition to that, some of the storms may be strong, pushing severe. We'll break that down for you, talk about the storm threat, and of course, look at even more weather makers in the 7-day forecast. That's coming up in just a few minutes.
All right, Bill, thank you very much. Well, coming up, making it safer at grocery stores. The change going into effect outside stores in D.C. that will make it easier to social distance. Plus,
Love you guys.
A social distancing showing of love. The special message from one local church to their priest.